We've always been fascinated with the Hyrox athletes, and we're now going to do an interview series where we get the chance to pick their brains, ask them about them and ask them about their world of Hyrox.
We've always wanted to do this and it's taken a while to get here, but we are really nosy, so we're going to ask them lots of nitty-gritty questions and I hope you enjoy it.
What got you started in Hyrox and how long have you been competing?
So what got me started in Hyrox, funnily enough, my wife, she was coached by a guy called Aaron Woodman who races quite frequently. You might have seen his name on the circuit. I went to the World Champs at Manchester last year after being away in Kenya for a few months, and I got instant FOMO. Watching all the athletes cutting around, and I looked at it and I thought, that is literally what I do in my job. Do a station and run, do a station and run. I'm in the military, so everything you see here is all really transferable. I was like, I could be all right at that. So yeah, entered Warsaw, did mixed doubles with my wife, and then after that, hooked. So we've been doing it about 12 months now. 12 months in September, just gone.
What advice would you give to someone who's new to Hyrox or looking to improve their performance?
So in terms of improving performance, I'd find out what you're good at and then periodise after that. So if you're really strong, work on your running. If you're really good at running, then build a little bit of strength. But my absolute top tip, a bit of advice is just go and do one, because you won't know where you are unless you go and actually attempt one on a solo. And then thereafter, you know what to work on.
What's been your biggest challenge in Hyrox so far and how did you overcome it?
I just think the biggest challenge is riding the way of highs and lows. So as you get better in this sport, you reach a new height, you get confident, you then try something new, you go out too fast and you get paid for it. And then you probably lose a bit of confidence. That's my journey. So I find that the hardest thing is you do really well, the next race you're confident, you go out too much and it doesn't work so well. And then you've got to go again to build that confidence up.
What is a typical week of training for you?
So a typical week of training for me will be pretty much every day. Some days I'll do twice a day, some days I'll just do one session a day. 2 strength, 1 power, 1 to 2 Hyrox style sessions, and then the rest is running with a mixture of long, slow runs, tempo runs, and speed runs.
What's the most memorable Hyrox moment you've experienced?
My most memorable experience for Hyrox was I came back from being away with the army for a few months, and me and my wife raced at London Olympia this year in May, and our first race together was in Warsaw. We managed to take off 8 minutes in about 6 months, and then crossing the line and seeing the time on the board was like my fondest memory doing Hyrox. Just knowing that both of us have progressed and it's like all worth it.
How do you handle the mental demands of a Hyrox race?
No matter how hard or if I'm having a good time, if I'm having a good time, you'll know about it. But if I'm finding it really hard, I try to put like a blank face on and be stoic. Because if people see you struggling, then they know you're struggling. And that's how I get over it mentally. It's like, I'm finding it hard, but I ain't letting anyone else know that. You know, I was getting cramp in my hamstrings and my heart rate was up. I had to make it look like I was loving it.
What's your strategy going into a Hyrox race? Do you focus on pacing, specific obstacles, or overall intensity?
I think it's easy to go to a venue and try and look at the variables that are out of your control. Whether the sleds are a bit funny or the heat's a little bit warm. But it doesn't matter what happens, whatever race you do, whether it's cold or hot, sticky sleds or not sticky sleds, pace it and look to stick in a heart rate zone, and then you'll come out the other end of it. Remember, it's an endurance event.
When you full on race and you push your hardest, what is your heart rate at?
I don't want to go anything above 175. If I've gone above that, then I've probably overcooked it a little bit. Because if I know, if I hit the runs and I'm like 180, 190, 200, I ain't gonna do well on the station.
What are your goals for the future in Hyrox? Any specific competitions or time targets you're aiming for?
What are my goals in Hyrox? I think in the short term, I just want to get on a podium for my age category, you know, first or second, top that. And then medium to long term, I'm talking 2 to 5 years. As the sport grows, I want to grow with it and try and keep on that trajectory and one day hopefully compete along with the elites.
Who are your biggest inspirations in sport?
It's a hard one, that, because I grew up loving football. So like, you know, you look at people's talent, but when you come to look at like endurance sports, I'm just obsessed with like Hyrox in general, and that's what I'm sort of zoned in at. I would say I watch a lot of Hunter McIntyre. I just like the way he trains. I enjoy everything about like his sort of outlook on training and competing. But yeah, I'd probably say that's about it. It's a bit of a weird question for me because there's no one that I look at and go, yeah, I think I just appreciate. Do you know what it is? Me giving you the honest answer. There's no one that I look at and go, do you know what? I had a poster of him on my wall growing up. My dad is probably my biggest inspiration. I'm very proud of him. He did 22 years in the army and I followed suit. and he reached the very top in what he could do in his rank. So, you know, not really from like a sporting perspective, but just how he was as a professional, how far he got, and I always look at that as somewhere I want to get to. Whether it's in the army or outside of the army, I want to get somewhere where it's notable.
What's your nutrition strategy like during training and race day?
So, general training, I prioritise my macros, carbohydrates, protein, fat. I track everything on MyFitnessPal so I don't overindulge, because I don't want to be too heavy for this sport. I just want to be about right. So I stick to maintenance calories, there or thereabouts. Race day, depending on when I'm racing. For example, a late race late at night, I'm going full carbs the day before, big carby breakfast in the morning, and then during the day I'm eating stuff that's light and easy to digest. Today I had like 2 bananas and some pasta at lunchtime.
How many calories do you have per day?
Anywhere between 3 to 4,000 calories a day, depending on how much I'm training.
This is a series of Hyrox questions, interviews that we're doing. So check out other ones that are coming your way.